Today we're going to be doing a tier list for you guys on the best second baseman in the game. So let's go ahead and get right into the content here. So Craig Biggio starting things off here. We're going to put him in C tier. I just don't think he's got the power. He's got good defense, don't get me wrong, but he just doesn't have a good powerful swing at all. He's got good contact, which you like to see, but outside of the contact numbers, he's not really that great of an option. Does have 125 clutch, so that is a good thing. But I just think there's a lot better options at second base right now. He is a good fielder, though, so if you guys like the fielding and value the fielding, I still think there's better options out there. If you like Craig's swing, go for it, but I'm not a huge fan. Ellie De La Cruz, I think you got to put him in B tier. You could put him a little higher on the lower difficulties for this. It's going to be on Hall of Fame and Legend, pretty much. I think Ellie De La Cruz is one of those cards who brings a lot of value to the table. He has switch hitting ability, which is really nice about him. He also brings really good defense, 5-tool kind of player. So that part of him is really good. The downfall of him is his 80 clutch, which honestly I really wish was higher. If it was even a 95 to 100 clutch, this card would be unbelievably good. Has a second base secondary. I am going to put secondaries on these lists just because right now there's not a whole lot of primary of anything that works. So he does have the 106 contact and 107 power versus right. So in the meta right now, that is pretty good. He is 6'5", so he's relatively tall, so his strike zone's relatively big. So on the higher difficulties, that does make him a little bit harder to hit with. I am putting him in B tier for that reason, and the clutch. So, Ellie De La Cruz, he does have a good swing. So if you guys play it on All-Star, maybe Hall of Fame, you can make it work. Go for it. Francisco Lindor, best second baseman in the game right now, in my opinion. Switch hitter, amazing stats, amazing swing, amazing defense. The only thing he lacks is an arm, which is why you play him at second base. Francisco Lindor right now is probably one of my favorite swings in the game. Does have 100 on every single hitting stat, at least 100, 102 clutch, max fielding, 77 speed right now. Unbelievable card. Reaction 99 as well. So he does have really good fielding out there at second base. You love to see that with Francisco Lindor. I can't speak highly enough about this card. All he does is hit home runs for me, against righties especially, which is the meta in this game, like I said. So Francisco Lindor, if you don't have him yet, very cheap card, only like 25k. Go pick him up. He's probably the best second baseman in the game, in my opinion. Moving on to the next person, Gunnar Henderson. I'm going to put him in A tier. I personally probably would not be playing him at second base. I would only be playing Gunnar Henderson if I did not have Jeter, and that would probably be putting him at shortstop. I probably would not be playing him at second base. That's why he's an A tier. I think he's got a great swing. I think, honestly, he does have a good swing. It's underrated. And on top of that, I'm not too sure why nobody runs this card too much. I never really see Gunnar Henderson. I know he struggles against lefties, and his clutch is only 93, which is a little bit troubling, but at the same time, his swing is so good that it makes up for it. So I kind of like Gunnar Henderson. He's a 5-tool kind of player. I just don't think he's as good as Lindor or the guys that are going to be an S tier. Moving on to the next person, Javi Baez. We're going to put him in C tier along with Craig. I think he's just a defensive kind of guy. I don't think he's... Javi Baez is one of those guys that just isn't really anything special. His swing, I hate his swing, so I'm not really a big Javi Baez proponent. If you're good with his swing, fine. Just, I would not suggest using Javi Baez. I think there's better options. And he's better against lefties. He's worse against righties, which is definitely against the meta right now. So I would not be using Javi Baez if I were you. That's kind of my opinion. But, if you like him, to each its own. Jazz, I'm going to put him in A tier as well. I don't know that I would be running Jazz at second base. He's another one of those cards that I probably personally would not run at second base, but you can. I would still be playing this card in center field. He's very good for the meta right now. Does hit righties really well, has really good fielding, really good speed. He's a 5-tool kind of player. Can't hit lefties, so you'd have to platoon him if a lefty came in. So you'd have to have somebody on your bench that could play second base as well with Jazz Chisholm. I think Jazz is really good. His swing's solid. I didn't hit very well with him, but I do know a lot of people that do hit well with Jazz. So I like Jazz a lot. Jazz is an A tier for me. Gene Segura, we're going to put that card in D tier. Not a whole lot to talk about with Gene Segura. Swing's kind of bad. No defense. Really has not great speed or anything of that nature. I'm just not a huge Gene Segura fan. If you guys want to use Gene Segura, knock yourselves out. I'm not a huge fan personally. He has good contact versus lefties. Not very much power versus righties at all. Good defense, that's really about it, though. I'm not rocking Gene Segura in my squad. Jeremy Pena, I'm going to put him in B tier. I think he has something slightly over those other guys in C tier, and that's just a better swing. I do like Jeremy Pena's swing. I think not a lot of people know about Jeremy Pena's swing, which is fine by me. He doesn't hit righties the greatest, but he does have 100 clutch, and he does have 99 fielding and 99 speed, which is really valuable over at second base and in this game this year. So I'm kind of putting him over those two because I like his swing the most out of the three. And on top of that, he hits lefties really good. He has a good clutch set, so that really helps him there. And he's got the power to hit it out of the yard. So Jeremy Pena, that's where I'm going to put him. Joe Morgan, he's going to go at the top of A tier. I really like Joe Morgan. I've actually used this card once in a game, and I sold him. So he was good, don't get me wrong, but I do not like his swing. I don't like his stance, but I know a lot of people that do like his stance and do hit well with him. He doesn't have a ton of pop. He has the glitchy kind of pop. He has good fielding, good speed, good leadoff kind of hitter. Has really good quirks for a second baseman especially. I think Joe Morgan's good for his price. I think there's better options that are a little bit more expensive or even free, just grindable. But Joe Morgan is a good option if you are looking for a second baseman. Pedro Marte, I think he is the second best second baseman in the game. He has max contact versus lefties, good power versus lefties and righties, good contact versus righties, good clutch, good speed, good defense. He has a gold shield at parallel 4, I want to say. Great player overall. Switch hitter, good amazing swing. I think it's, I swap Lindor and Ketel multiple times a day almost, it seems like, it feels like. So those two guys I go back and forth with all the time. They're both super good. I really like both of their swings. I think you could just choose a preference between the two of which one you like better. So Ketel, I don't have enough good things to say about Pedro Marte. Very good player. Mookie Betts, I'm only putting him in B tier for his swing. I don't think he's amazing, but he's also not that bad either. Mookie's one of those guys that has in there for their swing exactly. He has 95 clutch, good fielding, really bad speed for Mookie Betts this year. Not great contact, and he has enough power to get it out of the yard. So literally I'm putting him here for his swing. His swing belongs in B tier. I really like Mookie Betts' swing, so if you guys want to rock Mookie Betts, if you're Mookie Betts fans, go ahead and get yourselves a Mookie Betts if you want. Robinson Cano, he's also going to go in B tier. Good lefty bat. Decent enough on defense. He's just really slow. I'm not a big fan of slow at middle infield positions at all. 40 speed is just not good. I think Robinson Cano has a good swing. I think he could play first base for you if you really wanted Robinson Cano in your lineup, but I personally don't. There's a lot better options at first base. Robinson Cano is one of those guys that you have him there for the power, and I personally just don't think it's well worth it over the infield, the fielding that you're sacrificing for Robinson Cano. So I don't think it's worth rocking Robinson Cano. I do think he belongs in B tier for his swing, but I just don't think that it's worth rocking him over any of these three guys that I've mentioned before. Trey Turner, he's an S tier. I'm putting him behind those two guys because the switch hitting value of those two guys alone is just more valuable to me than Trey. Trey has 99 speed. He is the fastest of the three. He probably has the second best swing of the three, in my opinion. I just think with the meta of the game right now, his stats just don't play very well, with the meta of the game. He does have good contact versus both sides. He has good power versus lefties. The righties, he only has 89 power. I think once you get it to 90, he plays much better. He does have good fielding, good speed. Like I said before, good reaction. Has 125 clutch, so that part does play. Can play second, can play third, can play short, can play center. Very good position versatility. I do have Trey on my bench right now. So I think Trey is one of those guys that you definitely can play at second base. I think he's the top 3 second baseman in the game right now. I personally just don't have him in my squad right now unless it's off the bench, and I'm platooning him with Ken Griffey. So, Wander Franco, I'm going to put him in C tier. He's just a defensive guy. Switch hitter, not a lot of pop. So, Wander Franco, his swing is immaculate. When we get a good Wander Franco, look out because his swing is very, very good. He has good clutch, decent enough defense, decent enough speed. I think this card has a good swing as well. He's one of those cards that once we get a good one, look out because he's going to be really good. Xander Bogaerts, I'm putting him in B tier. I'm going to put him ahead of Cano because of his positional value. I think this card personally plays a little bit above Robinson Cano just because of the defense and the speed that he brings to the table. He's not necessarily a fast guy, but at the same time, he is faster than Robinson Cano. His defense is good enough to get by, has good clutch, has good contact, has good enough power to get it over the fence. I like Xander Bogaerts' swing, so that, in this case, I think Xander Bogaerts does belong in B tier. Last but not least, Yoan Moncada. I hate to do this, but I know a lot of people will hate me. I'm putting him in A tier. I think his swing from both sides is not bad. I personally struggled with him a little bit. His contact versus righty and power versus righty isn't the greatest. His clutch more than makes up for it, though. Has good enough speed. His defense kind of stinks, though, so take that for what it is. I personally would use those other 3 guys at second base over Yoan Moncada, but I think he's better than the guys in B tier. So that's kind of where I'm at with Yoan Moncada. And that is the conclusion of the second base tier list. Comment down below what you guys think is the best second baseman. And until next time, I'm out. Peace.